Hello and welcome back to another episode of Training Camp.
What are you doing?
I was.
We haven't started yet.
Oh,
This is
sorry.
my show.
Yeah,
do you think
yeah.
you're
I
doing?
know. I under.
This is my show. You should be lucky enough to be a guest on my show. What do you think you're doing?
I should go.
That's a good idea. Hey guys, welcome back to the Training Camp podcast. Today, right away, you guys saw who my guest is. We got Amona Faatau joining us on the couch today. How you doing, dude? It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's been a minute.
It's been a long time. Me and
It's been
Amona,
a hot minute.
Similar to Nick, Amona is in the same program that me and Nick are in. Actually,
Cheers
we
to
met
Nick.
the same year. We're all in the same class grade. We're all juniors. So me and Amona know each other for 3 years. Huge sports fan. We talk about sports almost all the time. Speaking of which, you can tell he's wearing a Patriots hat, so he is a Patriots fan.
Still
Speaking of the Patriots fan, I have a gift for you. If you look, there's another bucket for you right there.
Whoa!
This is all yours as well.
Wait, really?
And the
Like-
bucket is yours too. Another thing about Amona, she's also a huge Spider. You can see it
Oh,
tell
that
by
is-
the shirt.
Oh my
He's
god,
a Spider-Man
that is so
fan
good.
too. So not only is it Spider-Man, but it's also Patriot colors. So
That is good.
Happy Halloween.
Why? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Happy Halloween to you.
So on
good sir.
the slate for today, we have our reaction to the NBA Finals. Of course, it's one of the biggest headlines of the year. We have a special secret game that we'll be playing with Amona that he actually doesn't know about. I send briefings out. I send briefings out to people the week of our shows, and so it usually says what they know. And Amona, I kept this one secret for him. We're going to talk about the Dak injury and how it's going to impact everything. Of course, our wallet winners. The Michael Tom situation, and you know what? I had a whole segment called the Trade Mill Rumors because it was all about Le'Veon, and I've been updating Amona's briefing all week about this. And then of course it just, I didn't even care because we're gonna talk about that later, but that'll be in one of our last legs. But first thing we're gonna talk about are the NBA Finals. LeBron wins his 4th championship, of course, with the Lakers. Newest reports have said that Anthony Davis is gonna take his player option there, but there are a lot of Lakers opting out. What are your thoughts on the first of all on the Lakers finals, and then we'll get into what's probably gonna happen afterwards.
Dude, I'm just like my initial reaction after they won is I'm just so mad that I underestimated a LeBron James Anthony Davis combo.
Yeah, I I'm not gonna lie, I was wrong. Okay, I'm gonna do a segment later in the year of where
I was wrong.
But literally in the second episode ever, I said the Trailblazers can beat LeBron in 7 in the first series.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm just like you. I underestimated. I thought you needed a third option, and those two were just so good. I guess they don't.
And the thing is, like alongside that, is there just so many of the Lakers players that were so like memeified, like Caruso or like Rondo, that I was like,
Kuzma, Dwight.
yeah, I was
all
like,
of them.
oh, they're just memes. They're not very good. And then they just produced so heavily, were like so big in a lot of these games in the playoffs and in the finals.
Here's my question though, and this is going to be the talking point all year, and this is literally the talking point of the playoffs. But do they need a third option?
I don't think so.
You don't think that they need?
Dude, I think they're in a really good position where they're at right now.
Because one of the biggest things I saw from Game 6, at least, where they just completely dominated the Heat, was they moved AD to center. And this is something that I've been thinking the Lakers should have been doing probably from the get-go. And then just sign either a small forward to play a little smaller ball at the power forward, or just sign a power forward that can be a hybrid power forward, small forward. Here's the thing that's coming up this season. They only have $4 million available in cap next season. They do have $7.5 million in expiring contracts. That is 5 players. They got Dudley, Dwight Howard, Markieff Morris, Dion Waiters, and J.R. Smith. Those are all their expiring contracts for next year. Everyone else is either coming back or they're probably going to take their player option. I know actually Rondo opted out of his player option.
Yeah,
so
but I'm pretty sure he's just going to
resign.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is they have no cap space, so it's going to be a very similar team where it's going to be AD. But is that window closed? You have the Nets coming back healthy. You have the Warriors, who are probably going to trade that second overall pick. You have the Heat, who are probably going to make a big run at Giannis or at least another star player. Is that window closed?
I don't know. First of all, I'm excited for it, especially for Golden State Warriors to come back.
Yeah.
And for the Nets to come back all healthy.
It's going to be such a great season. Next season might be one of the best NBA seasons we've seen in a while.
Yeah. Like I don't know how it's going to work timeline wise, but I'm excited. Like I know it's going to start in like January or whatever, but
I think they want to do it the week of MLK Day.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that's when they want it. That's what they're aiming for. I want to be like, well, there's this and this that's going to hold LeBron back. But, I mean, this season showed that...
Yeah, and there's just such a big difference, too. Not that LeBron's ever been, like, a really... Not that I can think of. I don't think he's ever really been a bad or even like a mediocre regular season player.
Yeah.
He's just such a different kind of person in the playoffs and in the finals. Same
Well, I
with
think
Anthony
this year
Davis.
was so different because they had the 4 months off because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look back, he was looking like the younger players that were having success. He looked young in these. I mean, in an interview, he even said that he could. I think he said he beat 27 LeBron's ass in a one-on-one, which is so funny to me. But yeah, I don't know. I think they should go after a third option. Like the biggest one right now is trade for Bradley Beal.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any trade assets, honestly, to go for Bradley Beal. Like, there's no one that's gonna take any of these contracts. I guess there's a lot of interest in Kuzma right now, which is kind of interesting.
Really?
Yeah, I guess a lot of teams around the league are interested in Kuzma, which kind of surprises me.
Yeah.
Because,
First of all, I just want to say Kuzma was definitely robbed
Okay.
of Finals MVP.
listen here.
I just want to make that clear to all the viewers.
No.
But I honestly would not be surprised. And in my head, I'm like, they're just gonna trade Kuzma away for like peanuts.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me if they did.
Yeah.
Just cash, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Just get something. But like free agent wise, at least, I feel like they'll have no. Like I don't see why they should have any problem attracting.
But
It's just a problem with like, do they have the space?
And I think another thing is this isn't a really sexy free agent class. I mean, the biggest names were Anthony Davis. Honestly, I mean, you have the rookies who are they're on their last year of their deal if they want to pick up that team option, which they probably are. So you have like, okay, I guess De'Aaron Fox and Donovan Mitchell, and them they're technically free agents, but they're just going to get their team options. So I mean, it's not that big of a class. And
I think aren't there a couple players from the Raptors.
Fred VanVleet isn't expiring, and then I know I think Siakam's on his last year of his rookie deal or something like that. So yeah, but I mean, I guess Fred VanVleet's like the second biggest name out of all of the
probably
names. So I just don't see who the Lakers can go after. But I'm not going to count them out after this season. Like honestly, the Clippers were my pick from the beginning. Even when the bubble happened, I was like, I think the Clippers are just too good of a team. Even though they have Ty Lue, I'm still not going to count them in as good as the Lakers. Just because
and I don't know. I kind of like Ty Lue.
I like Ty Lue. I don't know if he can fix all the dysfunction.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll work well with the Clippers specifically. I know there was a lot of interest on if he was going to sign with like Houston, because I heard a lot of people talking about that might actually be really good for Houston.
It sounds like Houston might be tanking now because Daryl Morey is out.
They got a new coach and he was their GM.
He was a GM and he just walked out. So I guess there's a lot of rumors that James Harden might get traded. Yeah,
and which I hope. So like a big thing about the break that we had from basketball is all of the players that I had some kind of hatred for, and like the teams that I was like, I can't stand them. I loved watching them when basketball came back. Like I was seriously like, I would be so mad at the 76ers anytime, because I'm a Jazz fan, and there was like that whole Simmons Mitchell thing, but also I'm always like but once they came back, like I loved watching Simmons play. I was like, I'm just so happy to be watching it. Same with Harden. Like I wasn't a fan of Harden. Like I knew he was a good player, but I wasn't a fan of his until after we came back from the break.
Well, speaking of Harden and Simmons, apparently those two are being linked to a possible trade.
Really?
I guess like the big talk around the league right now is the Sixers might trade Simmons for Harden, like Simmons and a couple picks for Harden. And I'm not gonna lie, if that happens, and because they have Doc now, who is the only reason like Tobias Harris has been like great. He's only been great under his system. But if you get James Harden, Tobias Harris, who's like not a star, he's a great player.
Yeah.
And healthy Joel, dude, that team. I mean, literally just Joel and Harden to stretch, like because Joel can stretch the floor. I think that's gonna be great.
Oh yeah.
Going back to the East. We obviously can't talk about the finals without talking about the team that got eliminated, the Heat. I don't know where they go from here. I think they're in a really difficult situation because they have a great young core, and they have a great young core that can play, and they are extremely young. Bam's in his second year. Hero is in his first. I think Duncan's in his second or third. And it's like, do you want to trade that for someone like Giannis, or do you keep that young core together?
I don't know. This is definitely a very difficult situation, I think, for them, or like, at least to me it is. Maybe there's a very clear answer for them, because I think it was that young core and just that true team chemistry that got them so far. And it was just unfortunate to them, like, for what happened in the finals. Just players that were producing on offense, like Jay Crowder or I can't think of any names right now, but like they just in the finals they just kind of sizzled out.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's just because of lack of experience.
Well, I will say this: they're in a very different situation than the Lakers. The Lakers are entering into free agency with $4 million in cap. The Heat are entering with $52 million in cap.
$52 million?
And they have 6 expiring contracts.
God.
Now, I'll tell you, you'll understand why they have so much expiring in cap in a minute. So these are the small ones. They have Derek Jones, who I think is only about $1 million. They have Udonis Haslem, who's another $1 million. Jay Crowder, I think, is $6 million.
Yeah.
Here are the big ones. Myers Leonard is $11 million. Solomon Hill, which I don't know why they signed him for this much, but Solomon Hill's $13 million. Here's the biggest one. Goran Dragic was $19 million. He's an expiring contract. If you're the Heat, do you bring back Dragic or do you put that money elsewhere? For me, he's the secondary thought. Because he did get hurt in the finals, and he is, I think, 32 or 33. He's a great player, but he's not worth that. If I was offered Dragic a contract, it would have to be $12 million max.
Yeah, and they proved that they can win
without
a finals game. Yeah, without him. So I think if they have a chance of getting another, especially like a scorer, well, to me their biggest problem was defense because I feel like they just didn't get enough stops. Because even though the shots weren't falling, as I think Kyle Korver always likes to say, like the shots will fall. You just have to get the stops in order to have the chance to take those shots.
Right.
So I think that's their biggest thing they need to look for is a defender, firstly, but like someone that's at least a decent scorer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think another thing, too, that I found really interesting was Bam is a great center, but they should be playing him at power forward. I think that's a big thing. If they move him to the forward, they can sign a center or trade for a center. I think it's unlikely that they'll trade for a center. But, you know, honestly, if they get Giannis, like the rumors, that's the biggest rumor with Giannis right now is either – I think it's kind of weird that it's either the Heat or the Warriors, which they both make sense, but it's just kind of
Giannis is on his last
He's on the last year of his deal, but you know what? I mean, honestly, it would not surprise me because Milwaukee's been unable to get him anything. I mean, they should have beat Miami in that series.
What a surprising, like, collapse. Like, just absolutely, like, imploding of Milwaukee.
And I feel bad for Giannis because here's the thing. Once you start getting into that, like, top 3 player discussion, if you don't win a championship, then you're not a good player. If you don't get past, which is not true at all. Like, I mean, honestly, some of the best Hall of Famers we've ever seen play the game didn't win a championship, didn't even get to a championship. And you know why? Like, I think a lot of people romanticize the idea of the LeBron versus MJ debate. And, you know, like, well, they had a 2 and a 3, yada, yada, yada. And so everyone's like, oh, if you can win with, like, LeBron's won without a 2 before. Yeah. But it's like, oh, if you can't win without a 2, then how are you going to be one of the best players in the league? And that's one of the biggest things Giannis is facing right now. And, like, Chris Middleton's good, but he's so inconsistent.
Yeah.
So
like, he definitely has those games where he's just crazy. But
I think for the Heat, the best thing would probably, if they can get Giannis, would be to get him. If you have to give up, like, a couple of your young assets, you might have to. But, I mean, honestly, just with that Nets team coming healthy next year with KD and Kyrie, that the East is not going to be as easy as everyone thinks.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think they're, like, just thinking about it like that, I think their best option they can do is try to get Giannis. Especially for, like, a KD and Kyrie Brooklyn team.
You could have Jimmy Butler on Kyrie, and you could have Giannis on KD, which is perfectly fine. Yeah, that's just really hard. I mean, I was just thinking, I was like, maybe there's no one in the East, but I mean, you're going to have the Nets, you're going to have the Heat. If this is hypothetically, if Giannis goes to the Heat, you'll have the Nets, you'll have the Heat, you'll have the 76ers, you'll have Boston, who was just there. Yeah. The only one that I guess won't be there that was there last year is, like, Indianapolis was kind of a threat. But, you have the Raptors. They completely slipped my mind. But Indianapolis won't really be there because it sounds like Victor Oladipo's going to opt out of his contract. Same with Miles Turner. So, I guess, rip Indianapolis sports. So, and I'm just thinking about the West now. Holy crap. Okay, so you're going to have the Lakers. You're going to have the Clippers. You're going to have the Warriors. You're going to have the Nuggets. You're going to have the Trailblazers.
Jazz, we got
you're going to have the Jazz.
Bojan back, so.
That's 6 teams. And then, like, those 2 spots, it wouldn't surprise me. Oh, you know who actually might make the playoffs next year? The Hawks. And if we're talking about the Eastern Conference, I feel like the Hawks might get good because there's Trae Young. Got to work on his defense. If he does, then they should be.
I like the Hawks.
Yeah.
There's like one of those teams.
Oh, Dallas! Another team that I totally slipped my mind for the Western Conference. God, the West is so good.
I don't know. I'm really pulling for the Suns.
I just like Devin Booker. I just feel bad for the guy. Like, come on.
It just frustrated me so much that they won every single damn game in the bubble, but they still didn't like have a shot. Like they had a chance to make the playoffs.
Well, let's be real. Could they have done anything against that LeBron team?
Probably not.
No. Don't shrug your shoulders, because if Dame couldn't do anything, then don't shrug your shoulders. But we do have to get to a quick break. In the next leg, we have the surprise segment for Amona, and then we're going to be talking about the...
It's going to be bad.
Yeah! And we're going to talk about the repercussions of the Dak injury, so stick around for that. Welcome back to the Training Camp Podcast. If you guys missed the first leg, we basically just talked all things NBA for, basically NBA Finals. And
dude, we talked for 2 hours. Where were you guys?
No, we're going to cut all that. We don't want to talk about that stuff, yeah. We're only keeping about 20 minutes of that. So.
Yeah, we got some insider secrets.
Yeah, we actually do. I have my reporters out in the field right now. We training camp. We're very well. We got our connections. Anyway, so in this leg of the podcast, we're going to be doing the secret thing that Mo doesn't know about, and then we're going to talk about the Dak implications on the Cowboys. So, so here, the first segment is going to be the surprise segment. It's not that big of a deal.
Dude, I'm scared.
I didn't want to give away what it's called. So... We're Halloween themed. Happy Halloween. It's October. We're getting around there. So last week we did. Oh God, what did I do?
Dude, I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I wasn't here.
It was either try or die or something like that. Wait, hold on. This is very professional here. Do or die. We did do or die last week for do or die teams. This week we're going to be doing ghost or boast. So, I'm going to give you 6 different topics. And ghost means you don't want anything to do with it. You want to ghost it. Boast means you boast about it. You buy into it. Make sense?
Not really, but let's go.
Okay, cool. We're gonna hop into it anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So, first topic: the Raiders are the real deal. Ghost or boast?
Is this me saying that they're real headlines or that
it's essentially buy or sell?
Okay. Let's do boast.
Boast? Why do you think so?
Dude, I don't know. I think the Raiders to me just seem like a scrappy team. I don't know if that's a good word to use for them, but
the only thing that I don't like about them yet is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of the few people that actually really likes Derek Carr. I think he's a good quarterback. I think
I've liked them.
Yeah, I think he gets a little too much hate. I mean, he was in the MVP conversation in 2015, and then he got the injury, and he just kind of has been the same since then. But yeah, I like the Raiders. I'm going to ghost it because I'm not high on them right now. I want to see a little bit more. I think there's always that division loss. Like, here's a great example. If the Browns beat the Steelers this weekend, it's going to be, the Browns are Super Bowl contenders. That's what Brown fans are going to say.
They are.
And if the Steelers beat the Browns, then it's going to be kind of quiet. Like, Steelers beat the Browns, it's kind of expected. So, again, if the Chiefs beat the Raiders here, it's like, who cares? That's going to happen. But since the Raiders beat the Chiefs, it's like, but it's a division game, so I think that's going to happen.
No, I'm on the Raiders train.
Yeah.
That was not a train sound. It was like me hammering. Yeah, I'm on the train. Ding, ding, ding.
You're building the track. Topic number 2. The Niners were a one and done.
Boast.
Yeah, I'm 100%. It's funny. After those injuries, I see them exactly how I saw the Atlanta Falcons from a couple years ago. I think a lot of people are comparing them to the Rams from a couple years ago. But here's the thing. The Rams have actually just flown under the radar because they've had other good teams in their division. But, like, the
Rams are doing pretty good this
they're
season.
They're a train wreck. The Niners, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo got benched last game.
Yeah, dude. Okay, as like a salty, I don't know if I've never actually used that
Patriot
word.
Fan.
Yeah, as like a salty Patriots fan, when all that
seems
stuff
like an oxymoron, Mr. 6 Super Bowls in the past 20 fucking years.
Now I get to complain. Now that we're like,
now I get to complain. Now that we've only lost one game this year.
We've lost one game at least. We lost 2.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Actually,
apologies to one of the best teams in the NFC and one of the best teams in the AFC. Of course, my apologies, my liege.
But I was like, when Jimmy Garoppolo like first went to the 49ers, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, he's better than Brady." Oh yeah, and then everyone's like, "Yeah, he's the younger Brady, who's much stronger, much more handsome."
He is much more handsome.
He is actually much more handsome.
Jimmy GQ for a reason. I'm just gonna say.
But I was always like, "No, shut up! You don't know what you're talking about." Just as an angry Patriots fan. But now it's nice to know that I was right. Not about the handsome one, but about the better player.
I've always been low on Jimmy Garoppolo. I think it was all. I mean, they paid him $27 million before you even saw really what he could do.
He was a good backup.
He was a great backup. He was probably the top 3 backup in the league. Like if you go down, I think he's perfect. But Yeah, I don't really buy into the Niners. Even when they get Bosa and some of their injuries back, I still don't. I think they have a very talented, probably top controversial statement. I think they have a possible top 5 running back in Mostert when he's healthy, because Mostert's really good. I mean, he has like a 2 rush game for 85 yards.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Third topic: the Bears can make the playoffs.
Oh, Boast.
Yeah,
I think so.
Are you high on the Bears?
Though, oddly enough, I think the first couple Bears games they got oddly lucky.
Oh, they got very lucky. Those first 3 wins were
Yeah.
so lucky.
It was just like a weird thing that they found themselves in. But with Nick Foles, I think at QB, I think they definitely can. I don't know how far they'll go in the playoffs, but I think they can make it.
I boasted as well. The only reason I'm hesitant is they remind me of that Bears team from a couple years ago, where that defense came all the way.
Everyone's like,
yeah. And so here's the thing: I think they make the playoffs, but I think if they make the playoffs, the only team I can see them beating is Dallas. It's the only team I can see them beating in the playoffs. But if they make the playoffs, they're probably a one and done. Topic 4. Alex Smith can lead Washington to the NFC East division title.
Ghost.
What? There's no way you can ghost that. They are half a game behind in that division. You don't think there's even a chance?
He's like a damn baby right now. He's like, hasn't even barely played.
He gave Aaron Donald the piggyback ride.
I'm sorry, but I'm saying I'm saying not anything against Alex Smith, but I don't think that he could lead them to be that good.
That division is so bad that I think there is a chance he could do it. I think if Washington, and this is something
probably about the same chance the Suns had to make the playoffs in the bubble. That's what I think.
Okay, well, if Washington, I will say this: if Washington makes the playoffs, Ron Rivera deserves Coach of the Year, even if they're 7-9.
Right.
I don't know if you guys could tell by my reaction, but I boasted about the. I'm not saying they will, but I think they could. I think it's a possibility that Alex Smith could. I think he's the better of the 3 quarterbacks, especially since they're shopping Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah.
Fifth topic: the Titans are a true Super Bowl contender.
I'll say Ghost.
Okay.
But I do think they. I don't know. I like this Titans team, and I like the Titans team we've had for the past year or so, and I think that they could make some noise in the playoffs. But Super Bowl contenders, I don't know. So I think I'll Ghost. Yeah. I'll Ghost, but just barely.
In the last 17 games, Lamar is 15-2. Okay. Ryan Tannehill is 13-4. Lamar Jackson has a 36-8 touchdown interception ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Tannehill has a 36-7.
All right.
Lamar Jackson has 7 rushing touchdowns. Ryan Tannehill has 6. Lamar Jackson has a 64 completion percentage. Ryan Tannehill has 66. Ryan Tannehill is averaging 229 pass yards per game. Lamar Jackson is averaging 195 passing yards per game. And Ryan Tannehill is averaging a 10-point higher QBR. I don't want to buy in on this because I still don't know what the Titans are. But after watching them absolutely destroy Buffalo, I kind of have to boast it. Just for me.
I'm still going to... Because like I said, I still think that they'll go to the playoffs for sure. And I think that they'll do a lot in the playoffs, and maybe even go to the conference finals. I just don't think that they'll make.
Okay, let me give you some possible... let me give you some NFL AFC hopeful playoff teams, and you tell me if they can beat them. Buffalo.
I mean, I should say no because they just destroyed them, but I like that Buffalo team.
New England? Okay, you're a little too high.
I'm a little biased on that.
Cleveland?
No.
You don't think they beat Cleveland?
Oh, no, I think they can beat Cleveland,
okay.
Yes.
Pittsburgh, which we'll actually see in 2 weeks they play each other.
I don't know. Pittsburgh has been doing pretty well this year.
Bad teams. I'm even a Steelers fan. I can admit that.
But, so I'll say yeah, they can beat them.
Kansas City.
I don't think so.
No. Yeah, I think Kansas City is probably their biggest one. I don't see them beating them, but I could see.
That's why I think they could go to the finals.
Oh, like last year. Just
yeah.
kind of like last year. Okay. Or in Baltimore. Do you think they can beat Baltimore? I totally left them out.
Yeah. Dude, what's up with Baltimore in the playoffs?
What's up? Inexperienced quarterback. I don't even know. Don't ask me. Last topic. Ghost or boast. Andy Dalton is the second best quarterback in the NFC East.
who name the quarterbacks? In the
Let's see. We
Northeast.
got Daniel Jones. We have Dwayne Haskins or Alex Smith or Kyle Allen. Or you have Dak Prescott and Andy Dalton and Carson Wentz.
And we're not.
We're saying healthy.
Okay. So behind, who's he behind?
Probably Carson Wentz.
Hmm?
Maybe. I actually don't know. This is kind of hard. I could
Out
see
of all of them, I might
could
actually
see him
put
being
Dalton
the best
first.
quarterback
Yeah.
in the division. So yeah, I'm boasting it. I think.
No, I'll boast that. I'll talk about this a little bit later.
This leads us into our next topic.
Oh,
That's why I
perfect.
put it as the sixth one. So, unfortunately, the Cowboys did lose Dak Prescott for the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
There was a chance that he might be able to come back for the playoffs, but it sounds like they're just going to take him on the long road to recovery, and so he's going to miss the entire year, even if they make the playoffs. Upcoming schedule for the Cowboys. They have the Cardinals this week. They have to play Washington twice, not in a row. That's just the remainder of their schedule. They have to play Washington twice, the Eagles twice, the Steelers, the Vikings, the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Niners. Even with Andy Dalton, I still think they can win 5 of those games. I think they can still maybe beat the Cardinals. They'll probably beat Washington and the Eagles once. And they'll probably beat the Bengals and possibly the Niners. But the biggest ones, I mean, even though I'm a Steelers fan, that Cowboys defense is god-awful. They've allowed the most points in the NFL.
Dude, they're like, so they can have like one quarter. Like I just looked this up before we started, but they'll have like one quarter where they don't allow any touchdowns, and they'll be like, yeah. But then there'll be another quarter where they allow like 3,
It's
4,
crazy.
just to make up for not allowing one in quarter 3. They'll allow.
But you know
3
what?
in quarter 2.
They can still. I'm just gonna say I've been saying this since the first episode of the podcast, but they're a 13-3 team on paper, and they're actually 9-7 in real life. Anyways, if they want to be a plus 500 team, which I think they can make the playoffs at 7-9, which is probably gonna happen. If they want to be a plus 500 team, maybe like 10-6, 9-7, they have to do what the Browns are doing right now. They need to run through Zeke, and with Zeke's success, which he can have, they need to open up the game through play action. And I think Andy Dalton. Guys, here's some statistics for you guys. Dalton led Cincy to 5 straight playoff appearances behind a horrible offensive line and almost no weapons. But you know what he did have? He had a great running game that had almost 1,000 yards every single season. A couple seasons of 1,100 plus yards. So if you're having success with the running game with Andy Dalton, now you're giving him Zeke and all these wide receiver options. I don't see how they don't make the playoffs. They have to make the playoffs.
Especially because aren't like a lot of the other teams in their division just.
Oh, well, the Giants aren't going to. Washington, maybe. I don't know. I still am really unsure about Washington. And Philadelphia, I know they scored 29 on Pittsburgh, okay? But that's a fluke. Pittsburgh does this. They play down a competition, okay? Philadelphia is not good. This is just something Pittsburgh does. They make bad teams look good. We're getting that out of the way. Anyways.
I think they'll be the best in their division,
Yeah.
even with Andy Dalton. I think the hard thing, just like thinking about it, though, is like in my mind, Andy Dalton is just like, out of all of the quarterbacks, to me, he's like, yeah. He's like, to me, he's like, yeah, he's all right. Like, he's like, to me, he's like a more mediocre than I would say.
I think he doesn't get the respect he deserves because he was in Cincinnati for so long.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Is just, I don't know how good he could really be because Cincinnati is just like a black hole of talent. It just
unless you're Joe Burrow, who's just having a great time right now, but
still not enough of a good time to.
But do you know when when Dalton had the most success? When he had Giovanni Bernard / Joe Mixon on the early stages and AJ Green.
Mm-hmm.
Give him Zeke and Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup and Dalton Schultz and that guaranteed beaten up offensive line, but still a good offensive line. They should be putting up at least 30 points a game.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just so like unsure of what's gonna happen because Dak, like if you look back at like their past couple games, they've all been pretty close. Like they've all been like at least, or I think the Browns one was like 10 points, but all the other ones are at least a touchdown within. And a lot of the reason because of that is because Dak has just been like producing like just to get them to that point. Like even though their defense is like. I think it was.
It's not. It's bad. It's shit.
I think it was the Browns game. Even though they lost that one by 10, because I don't think Zeke even scored that game.
He scored 1 touchdown.
I think the rest of it was all through Dak. Like he was like the only reason they were even close, and a lot of the other games, that's the reason why they were even close in those games. So it's just Andy Dalton just has to match either that level or higher. But
here's my question: if Andy Dalton has similar success that Dak, like let's say they get down like that, and Andy Dalton cleat the back how Dak does Dak's price go down?
I think so. I think he'd still get like a good, decent amount.
I think a bad team like a Jets would offer him a bag that he would then crash and burn with just because it's the Jets organization.
Jets.
Woo. Speaking of the Jets, in the next layer, we're going to talk about the dumpster fire that is my show that they've created because they've released Le'Veon Bell and everything has spiraled out of control. And I used to have all these notes that can basically be burned for nothing because everything has changed in the past 24 hours. So basically, we're going to be talking about the trade block and the Le'Veon Bell impact and also some Michael Thomas issues on and off the field. So stick around for that. And apparently a monster, too. What is that? Genuinely do not know what that is. Anyway, stick around for the rest of the show. Welcome back to Training Camp Podcast. If you guys did miss it in the first leg, we talked about all things NBA. Second leg, we talked our Ghost or Boast. If you want to check that out too, as well as the kind of Dak impact on the Cowboys and that entire mess of the NFC East. And then in this leg, first thing we're going to be talking about, we were supposed to talk about all these trade rumors because it was going to be like, oh, Le'Veon Bell got cut, who's going to go, blah. And then he got cut, so I was like, okay, where's Le'Veon going to go? Then it got signed last night, so just threw the entire thing through a wave. So, just real quick, what do you think about Le'Veon on the Chiefs?
I don't know. I thought the Chiefs already had like a really decent running game going on.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah. So I was honestly kind of surprised that they picked him up, but it makes sense if Le'Veon Bell is just trying to get a ring or like do
he said that the biggest reason he wanted because he wants to be a contender.
Yeah,
I think the Chiefs will actually use him more than people are expecting.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing: a lot of people are like, "Is he the same player?" I will say this: when Tannehill left the Jets, he was a great quarterback. Or not the Jets. When he left the Dolphins with Gase, he was a great quarterback. Literally anyone who leaves Matt Gase becomes a better quarterback or a better player. So I genuinely think Le'Veon. I don't think he's going to be back to his Steeler days, just because it's been 2 years. It's 2 years of
Matt
not.
Gase still the head coach?
Yeah, Adam Gase, not Matt Gase. Sorry, Adam Gase is still the head coach. Yeah.
I thought they were like, yeah, we're going to fire you.
Nope, they're 0-5 and they still haven't fired him. They fired Le'Veon.
Bruh.
Yeah, I think. This is how I think the Chiefs are going to use him. I think they use him similar to how the Saints used Kamara and Ingram a couple years ago.
Yeah.
They use one to power in the back, and they use one as a receiving back. I know Clyde Edwards-Helaire is technically like a good receiving back, but I think that they picked up Le'Veon because you can put him in the slot. So Pittsburgh did a lot of. They put him in the slot. You can do that, especially with the Watkins injury now. But God, is that team scary? I mean,
it is.
I don't.
Now I'm on the opposite side of these like big signings and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's like, oh no, now this team going back to the Super Bowl. Now
I like the Chiefs, unlike the Patriots, yes. Another thing that people kind of underestimate about, or not underestimate, but it's underrated about Le'Veon is his pass blocking too. He's such a great pass blocker, and so that's going to be so great for Patrick Mahomes. But going back to what the original segment was, it's basically just players that I see on trade block right now, and I'm curious your thoughts on these players. So another bigger name right now is AJ Green wants out. There was that clip that went around. He was saying, "Then trade me."
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually what he said. It genuinely looks like it. Do you think they trade him?
Dude, I just think it's like one of those things where they've been there so long.
Yeah.
That I think if they haven't traded him like in that time, then they're not going to trade him now.
And I'm also just genuinely concerned if he's the same player. There's only a couple teams I could see taking him just for possible upside. I think the biggest one is Philadelphia because they have literally no wide receivers right now. I mean, they had a dude named Fulgham just disintegrate my defense last week. So thanks for that, Pittsburgh. You guys are supposed to be the best.
Dude, they always got to step up against the Steelers.
Who does?
Philadelphia.
They need to step up?
No, they
did.
Do.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could talk for hours about the Steelers. So I think the Eagles are probably the biggest landing spot if he were to be traded. And honestly, you could probably get him cheap. You're not going to give up a first, second, and not even a third just because he's not producing right now. And if he's the same player, cool, you got him cheap. Now you're pushing towards that.
Yeah.
I think this is just a name that we have to throw in because it's always in there. Patriots, they don't have a deep threat. If AJ Green is even similar. And you know what? Bill Belichick be like, I'll give you a fifth. There you go. He has a fifth.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Another team that I thought was kind of interesting was Oakland. They've had some injuries on the wide receiver core. And
Yeah.
you know what? Again, another deep threat. You put him on one side and you put Ruggs on the other side. Put Renfro in the slot. Pretty good built team. Again, this is all assuming if Adrian is the same player. Those are the only teams I can see going after him. Any other teams you think?
Not that I can like super, think of just right away, but I definitely think it's just more of a matter of will. Like, is Cincinnati willing to trade him? Because even if like I said, I think it's just like it might just be one of those situations where they're like, no, we're not going to trade you.
Yeah,
but it sucks.
Second player, Dwayne Haskins. He's been on the chatter a lot lately. What do you think happens to Dwayne Haskins?
I've seen. This isn't like an original thought of mine or anything, but I've seen a lot of people talk about him maybe going to the Steelers or the Colts just so that he can, train underneath a experienced quarterback.
Yeah,
which I think would be really good. It's just
I agree with you on the Colts.
Yeah,
this is why I don't agree with you on the Steelers. I think the Steelers definitely need a quarterback because we saw last year Mason Rudolph had some success, but he's not the future. He's not going to be able to lead an offense by himself. He's probably just going to be a backup for the rest of his life, which sucks because I was really high on Mason Rudolph, but it is what it is. You sometimes miss on him. Yeah. I don't think Pittsburgh takes him because he seems like too much of a project, and there are other quarterbacks, we'll talk about in a second, that I think Pittsburgh would be willing to trade for, but I think Haskins would have to sit for like 3 or 4 years. And in that time, his contract will be up. He'll probably go somewhere else because Pittsburgh could honestly just maybe even draft a quarterback then.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think he's a good quarterback to come in, but I think Pittsburgh won't because there's better options. I think there's 3 or 4 quarterbacks that might be on the market, either whether in free agency or if they, I don't think they're going to do this, but if they draft one and trade up for this year, which they're not going to do. But I think Pittsburgh sees that there's better options. Now, if they can get him for super cheap, I'm talking, again, like 6th, 7th round picks.
Yeah.
I don't think Pittsburgh's willing to spend a 1 through a 4 on him, which is what I think the Washington's looking for. It's a first-round pick.
Yeah.
I can see it. The other team, I agree with you on Indianapolis 100%. He's a mobile quarterback. They have a great offensive line. They have the weapons that are young. I think that's great. And Phillip Rivers is not the answer. He's honestly hurting Indianapolis more than he is helping them. The other team is just New England. I think he reminds me of Cam Newton a little bit. Haskins does because he's big, he's mobile, he's got a good arm. So I think if he sat behind it, I think it's like that's who he should aim to be is a Cam Newton-esque player.
Yeah, and I think he could learn a lot under Cam, like you're just saying. And I honestly have no clue what's going to happen with the Patriots' backup quarterbacks or like even in the future. Like obviously I hope that Cam, because he's only on a 1 year, I hope that he'll like stay with the Patriots for a bit. But who knows? If he leaves, there's not really
Are you confident in Stidham? No? Okay, cool. A lot of Patriot fans are like, oh, he's the GOAT. He's going to be great. And I'm not really high on him. But
I think he's like...
As a Patriot fan, would you be happy if you got Haskins?
Not
would you happy? Would you be comfortable if you got Haskins?
Yeah, I'd be comfortable.
Okay. Do you think he could work? Okay.
I think so. Okay. Like I said, I think it's just really a matter of he just needs to learn. He just needs like that practice and that experience of training underneath an experienced quarterback.
Yeah. If I were to rank teams most likely to trade for Haskins, even though I don't think the Steelers should or would, I do think it's Indianapolis, New England, Pittsburgh. I think those are probably the top 3 teams. Just because those other teams that don't really need a quarterback because they already have like that mentor type quarterback. Like you got the Bucks. Oh, they could trade for him because they don't have Brady. Well, they're kind of grooming Rosen right now behind Brady.
Yeah.
You have the Rodgers, Jordan Love situation. Breeze, Taysom Hill, I guess. That's what Sean Payton says. Taysom Hill's the future. I don't know about that. I guess they don't really want Jameis Winston. Anyway, but all these older teams that have quarterbacks, they kind of already have those younger projects they're working on.
Yeah.
This is a quarterback. This next player is a quarterback that is why I don't think as many teams will be high on Haskins too. Sam Darnold. The Jets are going to be a top 3 pick this year. So they're going to be for Trevor Lawrence or I can't remember his name out of Ohio State.
Dude, college players' names get lost on me so fast.
I'm just going to be really bad because I'm really high on this quarterback. I just can't remember his name right now. Justin Fields. That's right. Justin Fields. Those 2 are like the biggest ones. So those wouldn't surprise me if those 2 went in the top 3 picks. So the Jets are going to have an opportunity for a quarterback. I genuinely think they're just going to clean house and probably trade Darnold. Probably. Where do you see Darnold going?
Dude, this is the guy that I legit have. I have no idea. It's just because I just don't like Darnold. I'll be honest.
Is it? Do you not like Darnold?
I don't know if it's just because he was on the Jets, like kind of like the same Andy Dalton thing, and he just like struggled under that.
Who are you higher on, Haskins or Darnold?
Haskins.
Okay, see, now this is why I think the best team for Darnold is Pittsburgh, because they can get him cheaper than Haskins. And he's played with Juju. They played together at USC. And honestly, again, this is going back to what we're talking about with Le'Veon, we're talking about Tannehill. You get out of Adam Gase's system, and we haven't seen flashes from Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah.
We have seen flashes from Darnold. You saw that 50-yard touchdown run on Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago. You've seen him make these really, really good throws. Even his college tape is really good. I just think he's with a bottom-tier offensive line, and I think Pittsburgh is the spot. Because then Ben doesn't really like it when we draft quarterbacks like they were mad when we drafted Mason Rudolph. But you get a quarterback who's a project. He can sit behind Ben, and I think he's great. I think Pittsburgh is the best option for him. And I think you can get him cheaper because it's like you said, you would rather have Haskins than you would have Darnold. Mm-hmm. I'm really high on Darnold. I was high on him when the NFL draft came. I thought he should have been the number one pick over Baker.
Yeah.
I think if he was with Cleveland right now, I think Cleveland ought to be doing a little bit better. I think it's a big difference, but I think Pittsburgh's the perfect spot. I think you're getting a first round talent. You're getting a 3-year project where you can let Ben sit back, do his thing.
Yeah.
There's no pressure on Ben once he retires. Cool. You have your quarterback. And another thing is, Darnold's a great backup. Ben gets hurt, you can put him in. That's a great offense.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's definitely just what ifs.
Yeah. The other team I could see is San Francisco, just because they might be out on Garoppolo. Again, you can get Darnold for cheap. Another team that actually I have heard about is Indianapolis, which makes sense. I mean, that's a great system.
Yeah.
Who I think should get traded in Indianapolis, since we're on the top, I think Carson Wentz should force a trade to Indianapolis. Their head coach was his OC in his MVP season, and he has not been the same since. You go there with great weapons, a great offensive line, and I think right now the number one defense of football, he's going to go back to the MVP form. I'm sorry, it's probably going to happen. You have that. I mean, I know he's injury prone, but you have that play caller. It's just going to happen. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that if Carson Wentz wants to have the career he should, he's forced to out of Philly. Next player for possible trade. I know it's going to sound crazy, but it's going to lead us into our next segment. Should Michael Thomas be traded?
I don't think so. I think that. Well, what do you think? What do you think he should be traded for?
I think, because last time, like literally just a couple minutes ago, I said, who's the Breeze successor? Taysom Hill. I mean, they've only signed Jimmy Swinston to a 1-year deal, so are they high on him? Like, we don't know. You could get a plethora of picks for Michael Thomas, and here's the issue why. Michael Thomas is having issues off the field similar to Antonio Brown. Mm-hmm. He's fighting with. I mean, he was held out last game not for injury. I mean, he was apparently healthy enough to play. Yeah. But Sean Payton said, "No, this is a suspension. You need to get your shit together." He's fighting with teammates. He's talking back to coaches. He yelled at his head coach and I think his OC as well. That's not good. And I remember these were reports that were happening last year too. This was an issue. And of course, I know Drew Brees came out and said he's our guy. You have to say that. If you say, "Oh, he's a bad guy," okay, cool.
It just looks bad for your team.
Exactly. He's extremely high right now. I'm talking DeAndre Hopkins. Even though Bill O'Brien is a stooge, was like a bunch of second-round picks. You could honestly get Michael Thomas for. Can you stop knocking over this tree?
I just keep like moving or something.
You could honestly get. Is that your buddy now?
Yeah, just like that.
You could get. I'm talking like possibly upwards. I'm not saying it's realistic, but upwards of 3 first-round picks for Michael Thomas. And I'm talking like a top 10 pick this year. And you can get a quarterback for the future. You just signed on Kamara. You can draft a wide receiver later in the draft. There's always wide receiver talents later in the draft. I'm just saying I think they should move off of him. And look, I mean, they've had not great success, but they've been having success without him. Guaranteed, Drew Brees is the same quarterback, but Drew Brees is getting old.
Yeah.
Drew Brees is getting old.
I don't know, just like, I just looked back at, they played the Chargers, was it? Or was it the Rams?
They played the Chargers. They played the Chargers last week. They were down 14 and did come back, so I will give them that.
What, 30-27, something like that?
Yeah, it was 30-27 was the final score. They went to overtime. But
just that Michael Thomas is such like a big part of their offense.
Okay. So they're a good part of their offense. Okay, cool. Since he's gotten injured, they've put up 24 points, 30 points, 35 points, 30 points.
Yeah, okay. So they probably would be all right without him.
Well, I mean, Kamara's probably can get all his targets, so. But you know what? I just think, and honestly, not only would you get picks, you could probably get mediocre receiver for him too.
Probably.
I mean, if you wanted to, let's say the Jets would trade for him, you could get the Jets' first round picks for this year and next year maybe, and then maybe Jamison Crowder, who's a good wide receiver, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I just think Pittsburgh showed you that even if there's glimpses of negativity within a player, you have to get rid of them.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Putting it like that, I'm like, well...
Okay, how about this?
Well.
Ghost or Boast? Trade Michael Thomas.
I'm thinking Boast.
Okay.
On that now.
We got one leg left, so make sure you guys stick around. We're going to do our wallet winners for that week, and then that'll be it. So stick
we
around
got to
for
talk
that.
about Michael Thomas.
We just talked about Michael Thomas.
Oh, I mean, like, about his... being like... Rah, 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 rah. Oh, was that it?
That was it.
Whoop. I was like, oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. And then you'd say stuff about Michael Thomas. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what our next one's about. Never mind.
Welcome back to Training Camp Podcast. We're on the last leg. Previous legs, we talked about the NBA, the football. It's a bunch of stuff. There's always a timeline. If you guys want to click on a certain thing, you guys go back, go forward, whatever. Now we have wallet winners. Now I don't want to brag, but last week my wallet winners were gold. I only missed on one. I missed on one, and it was the Steelers, and I honestly probably covered it because they had Philadelphia +7, and I took that. I still had the Steelers winning, but there was up until like 2 points of the game, Pittsburgh was only winning by 2. So you know what? I'm going to say I went 4-1, but I basically went 5-0. So you know what? I did great. If you're curious about my other picks, I had Arizona -7, I had Houston -5, I had the Rams -7, and I had Carolina odds. So yeah, I had a pretty good week last week. Hopping into this week, my first one. I have the Rams. They're at the 49ers this week. The Rams are favored -3. I'm taking those points. I like that a lot. I really like that. Final score prediction, I think the Rams win 24-13. -3 is a lot, or is not a lot, especially for a really, really bad Niners team who got destroyed last week by the Dolphins. I think the Rams have a better offense than the Dolphins. I don't know if that's controversial. I think that's just kind of fair.
I think that's good.
Yeah, and so I think the Rams are just gonna absolutely destroy the Niners, especially they're so depleted on the defense. I think Washington has a better defensive line, and the Rams took care of Washington's defensive line last week. So I think that's a pretty easy pick. I don't think you really have any issues with that, right?
No.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
I think that's easy points. That honestly, that could possibly be my lock of the week. I think they could win. So I have them winning by 11. So there you go, 24-13, Rams over the Niners. My second one. This is. I technically have two upsets, quote unquote, but I don't think this should be an upset. So I'm just gonna count this as an odds, though. The Washington football team are not favored to win against the Giants. I don't know if we've been watching the same football season, but the Giants are bad at football.
Oh, they're so bad.
They're so bad at football. I know they put up a lot of points against Dallas last week, but who'd they put up points against? Dallas. It was
Dallas defense.
The horrible Dallas defense. Washington has a way better defense than Dallas. Washington might have the best defense in that division. I think they should start Alex Smith. It's come out they're going to start Kyle Allen, but whatever. I think it doesn't really matter. Any quarterback can really produce against that Giants defense too.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't know how the Giants are favored to win this game. I don't even have it being close, honestly. So I don't know what the spread is. It's probably changed since I made this. But I have the football team winning 20-9. I've been winning by 11 points. I can't even see the Giants putting up a touchdown in this game. Especially Daniel Jones has been so bad this year turnover-wise.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
This was a harder pick. I just don't like real big spreads. The Ravens go to Philadelphia favored by a touchdown. I didn't really like that at first because big spreads are scary. Like, how do you win by that many? But, man, if you look at what the Ravens have been doing this year, it's kind of...
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. I know it's in Philadelphia. I think they're allowing fans this week, but 4,500 fans in Philly are not going to do that much against this Ravens team. It wouldn't surprise me if the Philly fans actually helped the Ravens by booing the Eagles. I know the Eagles put up 29 points last week, but it's a stereotypical thing where Pittsburgh does. They play down to their competition. Don't expect Travis Fulgham to have a good game. Honestly, the Ravens are going to kill Carson Wentz. I feel bad for Carson Wentz. I think the Ravens defensive line is so good.
Get out of there.
Seriously. The Ravens are also extremely fast. The only issue... Did you just wink?
No.
I saw that. Stop flirting with my audience.
I wasn't doing anything.
The only issue I can see with the Ravens is the running game because they don't really have an established runner right now. I know they have Ingram and they have J.K. Dobbins. They haven't really chosen who's leading the team right now. And the Eagles have a pretty good run defense. I know Miles Sanders had a big game last week for like 88 yards and 2 touchdowns, but one of those runs was 73 yards. So you take that out, he had 15 rushing yards on like averaging I think 0.9 yards per carry. So the Ravens front is as good as the Steelers. Don't expect any success.
Yeah.
I have the Ravens winning this straight up 28-10. So I have an 18-point lead. My last before my upset, the Jags are hosting the Lions, and the Jags are not favored. They are plus 3.5. I love 0.5s because that means if I want, there's a field goal that could possibly happen. And guess what? I have the Lions winning by a field goal. So I'm taking the Jags plus 3.5. I don't think they're going to win, though. I think it's a close game. I have the Lions winning 28-25. Here's why. I think the Jags are a bad team. We all know that. The Jags are a bad team. But they've been playing some pretty hard teams. I mean, they beat the Colts, who have the number 1 defense in the league right now, in week 1. But here's my biggest issue with the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. These are all their injuries. Josh Allen, Miles Jack, Tyler Eifert, Brandon Linder, their center, DJ Chark. All of those injuries are questionable. And this is Friday, so we have no idea going into Sunday. That's so many injuries, especially on the defensive side. I will give the Jags this. They're 10th in the NFL in pass offense. So that's pretty interesting. And the Lions are last in rush defense. So Jaguars are having a great year with James Robinson as that rookie running back. I still think in this case scenario, I'm going to take the head coach and the quarterback combination. I just think Stafford's a better quarterback right now than Minshew is. And I don't really like Matt Patricia. But I think
he's a terrible head coach.
He's better than Doug Marrone by like this much. If the Jags win, it's probably because it's in Jacksonville. But I like 3.5. I see that 0.5. I love it. I could kiss that 3.5. So I have the Lions still winning by a field goal. So I got the Jags plus 3.5. Now for my upset of the week.
Whoa! Upset of the week.
I understand why Vegas has this as an upset because the team that's favored has a better record. Yeah. I did this last week too, so maybe it's my superstition. The Browns are plus 154 against the Steelers. The Steelers are favored. I love Pittsburgh and I love the Steelers, but they haven't really played anybody good yet. They have played the Giants, and they've played the Broncos, and they've played the Eagles, and the Texans, who all have combined for 3 wins. So wow, I think Pittsburgh's still a good team. I think it's still a top 10 team, but I think this is gonna be a real test. It's also divisional football. Even though the game is in Heinz Field, I can still see the Browns winning this game. The Browns have so many great weapons, and the secondary for Pittsburgh got exposed last week against Fulgham. Travis Fulgham embarrassed our defense. The man's name is Fulgham, okay? Fulgham. Fulgham. He embarrassed our team. So expect OBJ and Landry to have a field.
What?
I saw that!
I'm literally not doing anything. You
blinked at my camera!
No, I'm blinking.
Okay.
As a person does.
Okay, fine. I saw that.
What?
You looked away all suspiciously. So yeah, I do have the Browns upsetting Pittsburgh. Do you think Pittsburgh can win that game, or do you think the Browns probably take it?
I think Pittsburgh can take it.
You do think so?
Yeah, I think they can.
I just Pittsburgh's secondary scared me last week, man. I mean, here's the thing. I know it was one receiver. I think he accounted for like 75% of the passing yards, but they didn't make any adjustments to cover this receiver. And I think it's a pretty high-scoring game, 33-28. I mean, it's plus 25 points, which Pittsburgh's been putting up, I think, 29 points per game right now.
That's pretty good.
But I don't like the Browns secondary, so I think Pittsburgh keeps up with them. But I just think it's a situation where the Browns probably have the ball last, and they drive down, score a touchdown, or something like that. I don't see how Pittsburgh can win this game. Even as a Steelers fan, I would love it. And you already know the Browns are going to win this game. The Browns are going to be like, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl, beat the Patriots. But if the Steelers win this game, be like, yeah, that's what's going to happen. I will say this, though. If Pittsburgh has a win of like 5 or more points, maybe even a touchdown or more, I think that puts them in a legit contender in the AFC. I think this is a huge game.
They've been doing pretty well.
They have a really hard stretch next week. They have the Browns this week. They have the Ravens the week after. They have the Titans the week after that. So if you really want to show that you're all that, you got to win all 3 of those games.
Now's the time to do
you're
it.
Definitely not going to, but I have the Browns winning this game in the upset. So there is my wallet winners for week 6. We got the Rams -6. We got the football team plus 130. We got the Ravens -7. We got the Jags plus 3.5. And we have the Browns odds plus 154. So yeah, I did pretty good last week, so probably gonna go 1-4 this week. Let's be completely honest.
Here's hoping.
Thank you guys for tuning into the podcast today. Amona, thank you for coming on the show today.
Yeah,
We appreciate it. It was good to
give
see
you a kiss.
you. Very okay. This is ASMR.
You and the audience.
You've been winking and now kissing at my audience. What's going on?
Do anything.
Similar to Nick, I haven't seen you in a while, so it's really nice to catch up and just talk sports with you for a little bit. And like I've said to everyone else, I would love to have you on the podcast again. So if you want to come on, just let me know, man.
We'll see.
Okay, you know what? Maybe I don't want you. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next episode.